Okay, so Bob Cesca on Twitter, he said, never ask Laura who's on first. Okay, that's...
That is unbelievable. The great debate now is whether, I don't know.
It sounds like it was kind of like, sounds like it was a joke, but it was clumsily executed.
No, I don't think
so
she knew. No, she's so narcissistic. She thought it was about her show. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Can I tell a behind-the-scenes story? I shouldn't tell. So when I hosted Equal Time with Baby Cannon back in, when was that? Late 90s.
Late 90s.
Yes. So Laura Ingraham would fill in once in a while for her, and she was, no offense, but really awful. She was just starting out in TV, and she just was not. So it was supposed to be like live to tape, like not live, but like we had very little time, so it was, you're not supposed to stop, and we had to.
Oh yeah.
Can I just say I was really nice to her because I felt really bad for her because she just kept screwing up because she wasn't.
She wasn't media trained.
I don't think she was that bright. But anyway, my point is,
boom goes the dynamite.
Right, she was, and then she would get really frustrated, look like she was about to cry because she kept screwing stuff up. And I was really nice to her. I was like, Laura, you're doing great. Don't worry. Like we were on different coasts, but I was always like, you're doing great. Don't worry. Hang in there. That she actually, she's a soft spot for me because I was very nice to her then, and then also I reached out when she got cancer. But I'm just saying that just reminded me of that was not a bit. She really thought that he was talking about her and her show, and it was. Okay.
Did you ask her what's on second base?
Nah.
You're like, suddenly steam starts shooting out of her ears. I don't understand.
I hope she doesn't do shows about Chinese presidents because that. Who? Okay, let's.
Like the story with Chuck Todd yesterday was he's looking at the signing of the infrastructure bill as something that will fuel the horse race. And because it happened after the election, therefore it's not fueling the horse race anymore. That's the prism through which a lot of these guys see American politics. It's just this who's up, who's down, who won the week, who lost the week.
Yeah.
That's how they report on this stuff. And because this happened after the election, it doesn't quite fit into that very confined track, right? So as a consequence, you can't have legislation that is celebrated just because it's great legislation, just because it was, oh my God, in an era of massive divisions in this country.
Right.
It was bipartisan.
Yeah, and not even 50 votes in the Senate because of Manchin and Sinema. And it when you think about how historic it was with, barely even having a majority that Biden has, it really is incredible. And the international view, in addition to just the domestic success story of that infrastructure bill, internationally, I think international leaders are looking at that and saying, oh, well, maybe Americans are finally getting their S together on this. Yeah. Because the Republicans and Democrats worked something out and they got something done together that was not just some random naming of a bridge or something like that. It was $1.2 trillion. More than China is spending. I mean, didn't you get sick of looking at these pictures all over the world? I mean, I think it's fitting that Mitch Landrieu is directing the funds because, remember after Hurricane Katrina? Remember we would see those pictures after Katrina of our levees and levees around the world and, our bridges and, we're finally fixing that. That when how is this America? How are we this crumbling third world country, compared to anyway? But let me just real quick. Monmouth poll, 73% of Americans approve of having the January 6th Select Committee look into whether members of Congress played a role in the riot. 67% approve of the committee looking into whether Trump played a role. Spoiler alert, he directed the whole thing. He ordered the code red. He didn't just play a role, but okay. But, you tweeted on top of prison time, Bannon needs to be compelled to testify before the 1-6 committee. Thank you. And if the 1-6 committee catches him in a lie or reports direct involvement in the insurrection, there could be more criminal referrals against Bannon still to come. I mean, these smirky off on his podcast, flapping his pie hole. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know how the U.S. attorney didn't march back into the courthouse while Steve Bannon was out on the front steps after being charged, bragging about how he was going to go after Nancy Pelosi next and Joe Biden and so on. Yeah. I don't know why the U.S. attorney didn't march back into the judge's chambers and say, you know what, he's out there threatening more elected officials. Maybe we should rescind this free on his own recognizance decision. maybe we ought to put him in jail so he doesn't run back to the Willard
Yes.
Hotel and do his podcast where he's inciting more violence.
Right.
Which is exactly what he did.
And like Glenn Kirshner says, do inherent contempt, so he goes to jail. And he holds the key to the cell. If he testifies, he can get out. Right? I mean, it's...
Right. But that's the next step, too. We want to get him to testify. We want him under oath, saying what he was responsible for, talking about where he was, what he was doing, who he was talking with leading up to January 6th. And that's an important part of the process, beyond just sending him to jail.
Yeah,
which is fun.
I agree. Well, because you called it. You said he's just gonna, he's gonna love this. He's gonna, fundraise off it. He's gonna, he doesn't. He's just gonna be a martyr and a victim. This isn't gonna make him testify. We have to make him testify. I agree. So and I do.
Well, then there's
I
more
want
to come. I'm hoping. Yeah.
I want to lick the bike sweat off you. I don't.
Stephanie.
Listen, if Kimberly Johnson's too prissy, someone's got to do it. All right.
You just called Kimberly Johnson prissy? Really?
I just want to start a fight. It's all for publicity. Love you, Bob.
I love you too. I'm